Ma'am, by the way, I am Rayami Tanghinan from the Group 1, and now we were going to discuss what is chemical reaction. Ma'am, and now we were going to talk about what is chemical reaction. Chemical reaction is a process that leads chemical transformation of one set of chemical substances to another. A chemical reaction is a process in which one or more substances, also called reactants, or converted one or more different substances known as products. Substances are either chemical elements or compounds, a process that involves rearrangement of the molecular or ionic structure of a substance as opposed a change in physical form of nuclear reaction. A reaction in which a chemical change occurs is called a chemical reaction. In a chemical reaction, the reactants combine together to form a completely new substances called the product. Antoine Lavoisier is known as the father of modern chemistry. He is most noted of his discovery of the role of oxygen plays in combustion. Antoinette Lavoisier was the French chemist who discovered that air is responsible for combustion and the source of acidity, and also the French Revolution was the French nobleman and a chemist who was central to the 18th century chemical revolution and who had a large influence on both of history and chemical and history of biology. And Antoinette Lavoisier is born on August 26, 1943 in Paris, France. He died in May 8, 1994 in Paris, France. And
Good day everyone, I'm Maria Reniciago. I'm discussing the disadvantage and the disadvantage of chemical reaction. From the we get up in the morning to the time that we sleep at night, chemical changes are taking place within us and outside of us. Plants grow through photosynthesis. Foods we eat are digested by the body. Metal, crude, raw material are being converted to useful product. New medicines are being developed. More versatile and cost-effective materials are being made. Advantage: chemical reaction helps to find new product which is can be useful for future invention in a great way. Example: plastic cans, foil, and etc. Disadvantage: chemical reaction cause us a lot virus, chemical and their instrument and sometimes harmful product may be produced which may harm our environment. Example: bleach, herbicide, and fertilizer, and etc. Various chemical changes that occurs around us have significant effect to our environment and consequently to our health. Chemical changes occurring in industries result in products that are useful to us. The waste we throw being as well. The irresponsible use for fertilizer, herbicide, and pesticide have negatively affected plants and aquatic life. We continue to pollute the atmosphere with vehicle and industrial emission.
hello, each and everyone. Previously, we talked about what chemical reaction is, who discovered chemical reaction, the disadvantages and advantages of chemical reaction. And now we will talk about the impact, or should we say the different impacts or the different effects of chemical reaction to human health, different species, specifically the animals and environment. Now let's go the human health. If these chemicals can enter and irritate the nose, air passages, and lungs, they can become deposited and the airways to be absorbed by the lungs into our bloodstream. The blood can then these substances to the rest of our body. Ingestion or swallowing of foods, drinks, and other substances in another route of exposure. Like for example, chemicals can be toxic because they can harm us when they enter our contact to our body. Exposure to the toxic substance such as gasoline can affect our health. Since drinking gasoline can cause burns, pagkasunog sa atong parte sa kalawasan, vomiting, pagsuka-suka, diarrhea, or pagsakit sa tiyan. And in very large amounts, drowsiness, or pagka-antok, or worse to death, pagkamatay. So, this chemical reaction is toxic. Now, let's go to the animals. When toxins, chemicals are represented in the environment, organisms can absorb them through their skin or ingest them. The toxins then travel up the food chain via consumption and the food web. As a result, larger animals such as fish, birds, and mammals accumulate the toxins in higher concentration. So the chemical reaction not just affects humans but also these animals, whether they are big or small. So why gipili siya? Now let's go to the environment. Chemical processes generally occur in the water or the atmosphere and follow one of our four reactions. Oxidation, or being oxidized. Reduction, pagbabawas. Hydrolysis, or decomposition of band. And the photolysis, or the light radiation energy.
Good day, ma'am. So, by the way, I am Hanimay Hikilan Carvajal. This is Science 2. So, for the continuation of our report, I am going to report the types of chemical reaction. So, in the types of chemical reaction, we have a 5 major. First is the decomposition reaction. In the decomposition reaction, molecules or compounds break down into two or more than simply or chemically new substances. So it is understandable that in the decomposition reaction, we have a compound. And the example of it is the water or the H2O. It is a compound that if we are going to break down, it can have a more than two simpler chemically it can create new substances. So in the water, which is the H2O, then it will going to came up a hydrogen and plus oxygen. So on the other hand, we can have this kind A and B equals to A plus B. So it can create new substances. Second is the synthesis reaction, or can be also called as a combination reaction. In the synthesis, two or more molecules are combined together chemically to form a new substances. So the decomposition reaction and the synthesis, they are different. Because in the synthesis, it is a two or more molecules. Two or more molecules are combined together. So they are combined together to form a new substances. So the example is this: carbon plus oxygen. Carbon plus oxygen, it can create a carbon dioxide. So on the other hand, A plus B is equal to AB, or it it can have, or it can combine in another molecule under another compound. So that is the synthesis. The third types of chemical reaction is the combustion reaction. So in the combustion reaction, it is a compound containing carbon and hydrogen, or sometimes oxygen, combines with oxygen gas to produce carbon dioxide and water. So in the combustion reaction, it can produce a oxygen gas. It can produce oxygen gas. Example is the CH4, or the chemical type of methane, plus the oxygen. So that is why it can have another, it can create another carbon or another compound. So example, it can have a carbon dioxide, and then the water, or the H2O, the water. Okay, then number 4, we have the single displacement reaction. In the single displacement reaction, one element that starts out by itself replaces another element in a compound, or it can kicking out. So in the single displacement reaction, there must be one that will replace. So example is, we have the Fa, or the iron, plus or the copper, Cu copper, and then the chloride. So if we are going to start these replaces, then the Cu we're going to replace, or going to be here, we put it here, then the Fa, or the iron, is going to be there with the chloride. So that is the single displacement reaction. There is a replacement on it in the single displacement reaction, or on the other hand, it is the A plus B, C, and then this B, we're going to put it there, plus the A and the C will combine together. So that is why we will have this. So the last is the double displacement reaction. It is the positive and negative ions in two compounds switch places. So in the double displacement reaction, they don't have a displacement or kicking out. We don't need to kick out. We just need to replace them with their partner. Example is the Ba, beryllium, then Cl is the chloride. And then we are going to pair, having them as their pair. Example is the Ba, then they are going to be to pair with the SO. Ba and SO, and then Ba and SO. So we have this, and then the Cl and Na. So NaCl. And then on the other example, we have the Ab plus Cd. So Ab plus Cd, and then they are going to be paired with the A and D, and then the B and the C. So that is my report about the types of chemical reaction. So that would be all for today. Thank you.
The importance and the main goal of a chemical reaction in the fields of science. Specifically, chemical reactions helps us understand the properties of matter by studying the way a sample interacts with other matters. We can also learn their different properties. By observing chemical reactions, we are able to understand and explain how natural worlds work. Chemical reactions helps us to solve crimes and mysteries by analyzing blood and tissue samples. Chemical reactions are also tools to date fossils, analyze ancient materials, and better understand how our ancestors lived. Fire. the most important discovery of human being, and it is simply a chemical reactions. What is the main goal of a chemical reaction in the fields of science? Chemical reactions involve breaking chemical bonds between reactant molecules and forming new bonds between atom in product particles. In connection with, the main goal of a chemical reaction is to seek to understand the behavior of matter by studying the behavior of molecules and atoms. How chemical reaction form? A chemical reaction is a process where the arrangement of atoms, the way they are connected, are changed. It occurs when a chemical bonds between atoms are formed or broken. The substances that go into a chemical reactions are called the reactant, and the substances produced at the end of the reactions are known as products. In conclusion, without chemical reaction, nothing would ever change. Atoms would stay atoms. New molecules would form. No organisms could live. If matter did not react with other matter, the universe would be extremely boring.